Okay, welcome to the IFT shop, aka my basement. Today we're going to be taking this Stihl TS420 cutoff saw and we're going to change the blade position from inboard mounted to outboard mounted. Now the reason you may want to opt to do this would be this will give you a flusher cut with forcible entry ops. It gets into tighter spaces a little bit better. The downside to this is that gyroscopically it's a little less stable. So if you're going to be doing like roof ops, ventilation with a rotary saw, then you may want to opt for the more stable inboard position. Now this saw I have today, this is actually a loaner saw because my Stihl's in the shop right now. You'll notice that I haven't swapped out the handle on it. It's pretty clean. It's got an abrasive blade on it. So this is just going to be our demo for today. Now first things first, what you're going to need, you'll need a 19mm socket, a 13mm socket, T27 and a T20 Torx driver, and just any thin screwdriver bit to stick in here and stop up the pulley. Now, first things first, what I want to do is I want to take the blade off just to make this easier to handle. So this hole right here is designed to take any thin tool, stick it in there, and you're going to jam up the pulley. Notice I can't go any further, right? I'm going to take my 19mm socket here, and now I'm going to actually take the blade off. All this is available in the owner's manual if you've never done this before, but there wasn't a video out there on the internet on the Stihl, so I figured, what the hell, I'll just make one. Set that aside, take the blade off, again, set that aside. We're done with that. Okay, next what we want to do, we're going to take our 19mm socket here, we're going to untension the belt. All you gotta do is just follow the schematic here. Super simple. On the Stihls, they're automatic. It's super easy to do. Next, I like using a extension on my 13mm socket. We're gonna take the actual starter assembly off. Now all the saws we run at IFT are outboard mounted because we really focus on the forcible entry aspect with rotary saws. But if you have the capability to run two saws in your rig, I would definitely recommend trying to run one inboard and one outboard. Really gives you the best of both worlds. All right, set those aside, take our starter cover off. All right, so now we're starting to get into the meat and potatoes of it. T27 here takes this off. Okay, set that aside. Now, we're going to work our pulley or our belt off the pulley. Come on. There we go. Okay. This whole assembly is going to slide off here. Okay. And we're going to come back to the power head in a moment. Alright, so now we're here. This is that automatic belt tensioner. Okay, pretty slick little design. There's that pulley, right? That's what the belt powers. That's where you're jamming the screwdriver in to stop it up to do the blade change. So what we're going to do next is we're going to actually take this guard off. And inside here, may be hard to see, there are some square nuts that are captive. They'll fall out. We'll slide them back in here in a minute. 13mm here too. Okay. There goes that captive nut. I better grab that. Okay. Here's the other one, this side here. Okay, there's that guy. That comes off. Captive nut there. All right. Again, Torx bit here. That slides out. There are little tabs on this, so you kind of have to pull this apart to get it out. There we go. That part's off. Okay. Next, what we're going to do, we're going to take this bolt out here. Okay. What that's going to allow us to do is rotate this whole assembly here. You can already see how it's going to turn into an outboard mounted here. All right. I'm going to put this nut back in, or excuse me, bolt. Okay. T20 here on this piece, that's got to come off. All right, so that came off there. Now we're going to mount it over here. This is really easy, guys. You guys can do this in a matter of minutes. I've done this many times. I can do it by heart. Hopefully I don't totally mess this up. Okay, I'm going to put this back on, the handle to the blade guard. Okay. Wrong way. There we go. All right, drive that guy back in. So, I guess I didn't get in all the way. All right, there we go. All right. Son of a bitch. There we go. We're in now. Alright, this is the tricky part, is getting those captive nuts back on. There are guides inside the blade guard that'll help hold them in. Alright. So, I know it's very hard to see in there, but there are guides. I'm going to stick one of these captive bolts in. Okay. No, I'm not running. I took the wet saw attachment off, so the banjo bolts on this really doesn't matter what side. But if you are running your wet saw attachment, definitely mind which side the bolt comes off. Alright. Okay, remember those were 13 millimeter. Just tighten these back up. It's good there. Good. Alright, double check that I got this one good. Awesome. That guy down here is good. And this one's good here. Great. Okay, so now the arm is ready to be mounted back on the saw in the outboard position. Set that down for a second. I'm going to get the power head. Okay, so here's our power head. Now, I'm going to flip this around actually so you guys can see this. Put this on here. There we go. Sometimes it's easy to pinch your fingers. Make sure your belt is following the right path. Okay. There we go. All right. Belt's good. It's not impinged. Here's a shot from the other side. All right. Cool. So I'm going to throw the starter cover back on. Okay. Just thread these bolts on by hand so I don't cross thread them. All right. Before I tighten these down, I'm going to put the belt cover on. Remember this piece? Flip that back around. There we go. Okay. And that's all that holds that on. Okay. I'm going to retension the belt. Super easy. Okay. You'll notice again, just follow the schematic. There's like a gradient here. Right now it's at the least amount. I'm just going to turn it. Boom. Automatically tensions. Ready to rock. Okay. Last thing we have to do over here is tighten up the bolts on the pull starter. Okay. All right. And finally, we're going to install the blade again. Take your blade. Make sure you're aware of which way, if you're running a directional blade, which way you're putting the blade on. Okay, get that on there nice and flush. Get my washer and my arbor nut here. There's these little tangs that have to go into the arbor there. Make sure you line those up. Nice and flush, everything's nice and flush. There's that. Okay. We're just going to tighten this up. Okay. That's that. Now, if you notice the profile here, you've gained 2 inches easily, maybe 3 or 4 of clearance for making low profile cuts, things against doors, what have you. Great option. It's totally free. Try it out if you like it. Awesome, good for you. If you don't, switch it back. I mean, these saws are literally designed from the factory to be run either inboard or outboard. Hope this is a good training minute for you guys. You got something out of it. Please like, follow, subscribe, all that junk on our social medias, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, what have you. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.